Hi, this is Lisa Merrill, and this is my leadership presentation for Library Media 5523, summer 2018. A brief synopsis of the presentation is that it will be done with elementary teachers of grades pre-K through 5 at a weekly after-school staff meeting. We will cover what is inquiry-based learning, also why should I use it, first steps to get started, how can the library help, and then the relevance for Morris Elementary, that research shows students are more engaged when they feel they have ownership, and also that inquiry learning promotes critical thinking and development of problem-solving skills necessary in 21st century learners. Inquiry has also been proven to better prepare students for the workplace. So, inquiry minds want to know inquiry-based learning in the classroom. What the heck is inquiry-based learning? First of all, it's not something new. It is about triggering curiosity. Triggering curiosity is not just about delivering information. It fights the chronic problem with student engagement. So how many times have you asked a student what they want to know about something? And what's the basic answer? I don't know. Inquiry teaches them to engage and become independent thinkers and critical problem solvers. It's easier for teachers in that it transfers responsibilities to the students, but more importantly, letting go of some authority also engages students. Teachers have to model enthusiasm, they have to model excitement, and they have to model their own curiosity quotient, which is your desire to learn. Lessons on literacy, research, informational writing can all be embedded into every content area with inquiry-based learning. So there's 4 steps to every inquiry lesson. The first is students develop questions they want to know the answer to. With guidance from the teacher, they develop these questions to reach the goal of whatever the learning outcome is, which is predetermined by the teacher in the beforehand planning. Second step is research, researching the topics using time in class. This can be done in class, it can be scheduled whole group time or small group time within the library as an additional visit. You can also schedule a special class time where the teacher librarian comes in to the classroom to help facilitate with researching in small groups and utilizing technology that you have available with the Chromebooks. The third step is to have the students present what they've learned. This can be done several different ways. Students can present through collaborative projects. This is a great way to get them feeding off of each other and doing peer projects together. They can make digital posters. They can do a group video. They can do a digital presentation or PowerPoint. Powtoons is another tool they can utilize, or S'more, or even Chatterpix with some of the younger grades. And the fourth step is to reflect. Ask students to reflect on what worked and what didn't work about the process. This is key. Students begin thinking about how they learn and not just what they learn. They can reflect by journaling, and they can reflect by doing small group discussions. They can also blog. And again, these are ways that the library can be helpful to the teacher in the classroom. So this is just a quick acronym of what inquire means. I, investigate your surroundings. N, narrow your focus. Q, ask comparative questions. U, uncover your prediction. I, initiate an action plan. R, research and data collection. And then E, they examine their results and they communicate their findings. So what does research say about inquiry-based learning? Well, the reality is that inquiry-based learning is not widespread in public school systems. It's used mostly in private and charter schools. It also demands a lot of time, and that can be discouraging for teachers. Time can include the planning time is a little bit more initially on startup, getting used to teaching inquiry. and it's also more time, class time, where the students are actually working and doing hands-on. And then it requires access to technology for research and collaboration. And we're very fortunate at Morris that we have one-to-one Chromebooks and iPads. So research shows that students who participate in inquiry-based learning are advanced in conceptual and applied knowledge, that students outperform on national exams, that they score higher in problem solving, and they also have better planning skills. And then research has also shown that there's been reduced test anxiety and higher self-confidence when it comes to those exams. In general, students end up being more prepared for the 21st century workplace with those higher level thinking skills and problem solving. So challenges teachers face, and what can we do? The challenges are class time is the biggest one. When do you make time for doing this? And it's just something we have to carve out time to do and make a conscientious effort, and we start small. Management of skills, of multiple projects simultaneously, so you're going to have different small groups within your classroom, and we have to be able to manage each of those small groups that are working on something different that's personalized specifically to that small group. And then measuring their intended learning outcomes can be a challenge, but it can also be turned over more towards the student where it's more authentic and you get a better idea of what they actually know and how they came to those conclusions. What can we do? First thing, start small. Utilize their real-life problems just to get them started, getting them started thinking with problem solving. We also can work collaboratively with each other as teachers. And as a librarian, I would be able to work with you on a unit or a project. Utilize the library for weekly visits. You can sign up in one of the extra time slots we have in our library schedule. Send a small group to work with me, or bring your whole group, and we can co-teach and work together with the whole group at the same time. They can come and do their presentations in the library. And then collaborate or co-teach a unit quarterly just to begin with. So every 9 weeks, or if that's too overwhelming, you could start with one per semester of one project just to get your feet wet and not be so overwhelmed with it. And again, I would be more than happy to collaborate and plan and co-teach by coming into your classroom or having you come to the library. So the effects of inquiry-based learning using a 5E learning cycle. This is something that was discussed in an article about science instruction, and the 5E model of instruction is engagement, exploration, explanation, elaboration, and evaluation. And on the right side of this slide is a free poster for teachers that's available, and there's a link within your handout that includes that too. And engaging is just making sure that students are making those connections with prior knowledge. Exploring is when they go through those concepts and they use hands-on activities and identify their questions. They develop a hypothesis and they can test different answers to it. The third is explain, and that's where direct instruction can take place and be presented. And they can also explain what they're learning to you. Vocabulary can be defined and concepts are explained. The fourth is extend or elaborate, and that's when generalizations about a new learning is applied to previous knowledge. And the last one is to evaluate, and that's where students evaluate their own learning and they prove what they know in writing, conversation, and or demonstration. This 5E model of instruction is consistent with the natural way that children learn. It's typically used with science instruction, but can be embedded within other subjects. So the effects. Higher understanding of information presented has been shown, as well as interpretation of student-led discovery answers to inquiry questions promotes understanding and comprehension at a higher level. So teachers can use this 5E model of instruction for all subjects, again, not just science. Ways or steps to make an inquiry-based classroom. One way is to flip the classroom. Have the students read or go over lecture notes or watch a video of you the night before, and then when they come into the classroom, they're able to actually spend your class time on hands-on projects and small group work. 2, don't answer questions, student questions. Show them how to do it for themselves. Listen when students speak. Encourage those questions. Spend time on projects, not on lecturing. Have students publish and share their inquiry learning results. Include reflection in every lesson plan, and become a fellow learner. When you become a fellow learner, students feel valued in their classroom experience because you're learning from them. This goes back to modeling enthusiasm and your desire to be a learner. 8, get rid of yes/no questions. Make sure you're asking open-ended questions. And 9 is using summative assessments, but make them less paper and pencil and have students create their own. One example would be students could use Puzzle Maker to go over or to make a puzzle about what they've learned. This is a quote from John Dewey. Like I said, inquiry-based learning is not something new. It goes all the way back to John Dewey and his theories on how children learn. If we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. And this was a quote that just really touched home with me. So use your resources. Teacher, librarian, me. Use me. Collaborate, planning, and resource collection. I would love to collaborate. I'd love to co-teach in your classroom, or have small groups come in the library and work with them, or have your whole class come into the library and we could work together on projects. Use your library as a classroom, and then also use the library as an information source. This is just a copy of the teacher handout that I'll be handing out, and it's got the 4 steps for inquiry learning and the 5E model of instruction. Also has a list of your resources and those websites that I mentioned. And the last thing is to remember, I took this from one of my classmates, Rome wasn't built in a day. Even baby steps are a step in the right direction. These are references to the articles that were used, and these are image references. And that concludes my presentation.